Welcome to Winners, Wallets, and Worldviews, the only show that's going to teach you how to be somebody.
Where in your life did you learn that you're not good enough?
Take what you're most passionate about and what you're most fearful of, and what is the plan to overcome that fear, and what is the plan to enact that passion.
Welcome to Winners, Wallets, and Worldviews. I am your host, AJ Armstrong. You can follow me on Instagram at AaronArmstrong33, or you can go to my website at AaronJArmstrong.com. Today, I have with me Boy Genius and also potential investor. We also have potential inventor, or actually current inventor, and also extreme hobbyist, Ben Byczek, on the line here today. Ben, what's going on, man?
Yeah, not much. I'm just kind of hanging out today. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So Ben, tell us, so how old are you and what grade are you in right now?
I am 13. I'm in 6th grade. I go to Lourdes Academy, and yeah.
So Lourdes Academy in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So let me ask you, what is one of your favorite subjects you're currently studying right now in school?
Probably I would go with either math or science. Both very interesting topics.
Why do you like math and science so much?
Because they're just a lot more interesting than like writing a paper in writing class or reading a book, and it's fun at times, and
Just figuring out problems and just working through stuff, huh? So
it's like a challenge.
do you read it all, like on your own? Just like read different. What do you like to read?
Usually I like to read like more nonfiction not documentary, but like biographies or things about. I just got done. I read a book about how a few Danish kids started the rebellion against the Nazis in World War II in Denmark, because they were the ones to start it, and they were literally in high school. It was a very interesting book. Very, very interesting.
What made you interested in reading about that? Like what drew your attention to it?
It's just, I don't know, the topic it just seemed like a very empowering topic.
Sure.
Listening to how they started, just like one of the kids was as young as 14 and they went all the way up to like 16, started a whole rebellion against the invading Germans into Denmark, which is very like it shows that.
So that's only 1 year older than you right now. Do you think you would feel qualified to lead an uprising against a tyrannical regime?
Possibly.
I know you get into politics, and we had your dad on yesterday too. So it's always funny, especially with all this, COVID-19 stuff going around. And then I can't wait for the movies to come out about this whole thing that we're living through, and how, talking about the tyrannical possibility of government coming in. And it's just going to be like 1984, like in a world, a disease, spreads everywhere. I just picture the movie trailers coming. Well, Ben, you can do this. You ever see that movie Red Dawn back in the 80s? They made a newer one recently.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that could be you. Just a bunch of kids, high school kids, just leading a rebellion against the Russians.
Yeah, I could.
Well, that's interesting, Ben. Your reading selection's probably a lot different than most other 13-year-olds. I mean, I don't think I read a book until I was out of college.
Yeah, a lot of my friends read like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Like, what? Why?
Yeah, just waste of brain space.
Pretty much, it's just like a brain cell.
Like here you are preparing for a possible insurgency, and these guys aren't going to just completely be caught off guard, man. You're going to be like the John Connor of the future, leading the resistance yourself. That's going to be your goal. So Ben, let me ask you, man, what do you aspire to be when you grow up, when you get older?
I probably want to dabble a little bit in like real estate development, and then also I want to get into the technology markets because I do a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm actually currently working on a few crazy projects relating to that. Like one, I'm building a treehouse with running water and electricity and a whole custom build. I made it myself from a old workstation computer, a smart home system for a treehouse, which works with Wi-Fi, and I ran it all the way out into the middle of the woods.
So where do you start the process of building a treehouse with a smart home technology and plumbing? Where did you start with that? And where are you at right now?
Right now, I have the lines ready to run out the Wi-Fi. There's already electricity out there. And how I kind of started with this is one day I was walking through, we've got a little house up in Door County on some land. So I was just walking through the woods one day and I'm like, wouldn't it be awesome to build like a tree house, but that was like actually a livable house? So then
Right.
I just, started doing things.
That would be, the more I keep talking to you, Ben, maybe you are the leader of the resistance. Here you are building an off the grid, housing situation to run away your bunker, your bomb shelter, your bug out bin, right?
Yeah,
Do you do any doomsday prepping, Ben?
not really.
No?
No, yeah,
You don't prepare for the apocalypse at all?
not, no, not usually.
Yeah,
Not.
that's the right answer too. Of course not. I'm just gonna go with the flow. Nothing's gonna happen. Well, Ben, okay, so you want to grow up, you want to do something in technology, in real estate development. Two interesting choices. What do your friends want to do when they get older? Do they even know?
No. The- I was checking my stocks one day when I was walking out of school. One kid came up to me, one of my friends, and was like, "What is that you're looking at?" And I'm like, "It's my stocks." And then he's like, "What's a stonk?"
He called it a stonk.
Yeah, he called it a stonk. So I don't, I don't think anyone really knows.
So you buy and trade stocks right now.
Yeah, right now I own about 1,000 shares in total of a few different companies.
What companies do you own?
I have some P&G, I have Apple, Microsoft, Starbucks, Southern Company, which is a electrical company, and a few others that I cannot remember right now. But yeah, it's and
What
I've been.
what do you look for when you're purchasing a stock?
Well,
What are you looking at?
right now, especially with the market how it is right now, I've been looking more at because so I've been looking at what it sold at before this big crash that happened because the whole coronavirus thing,
Yep.
and then what like where it's going now. Because if I know it's like a good company, it's like P&G. They make things that will always be around. You're always going to need laundry soap. It's not like
Hmm.
something that goes out of style or anything. So with those companies that you're going to get your money back out of it. And I'm not really in it for like fast money. I'm 13. I don't need money right now. So what I do is I look at that with this crash, and now that everything's kind of rebounding, right now there are all the really good deals, like the bargaining is over now because everything's starting to rebound, but you can still get some pretty good deals on stuff. Like I think Starbucks is at somewhere around $60 a share, and before the crash, it was trading at 90. So still, and it's gonna get back up there. It's not like a gamble. I also own a bit of Kraft and Heinz Company, which is a bit more of a gamble there because they have a lot of debt. And what I'm really hoping to happen with that is either it just keeps rising or someone comes in and splits it all up.
Sure.
Because they have huge amounts of debt, but they're still making they were actually profitable last quarter, I believe.
Where do you find a lot of the research about these companies?
I read articles, I look at a lot of different sources.
Have you anybody taught you how to analyze a stock yet?
No.
Or do you just teach yourself anything? Or?
I think I've kind of taught myself most of it. I've kind of learned a bit from like my dad and things like that, but yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely got to jump on people. You got 1,000 shares of some blue chips that you've been trading to. You sound like you got a little bit of a bullish approach to the market right now. You think it's going to bounce back, rally back, especially the consumables like P&G and other food companies as well. Those things should make a rebound. I mean, you got people hoarding toilet paper right now. Procter & Gamble, one of their largest holders, there's a lot of toilet paper companies and consumables like that. Not a bad approach, Ben. Yeah. You might come out of this thing on top, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's looking pretty good.
So if you were to pitch our listeners a stock, what would you say is definitely a buy right now?
Probably Starbucks is a really good one from what I've been looking at, and Procter & Gamble, two very good stocks from what I'm seeing. Starbucks seems very good to buy because before this whole crash, it was rising pretty, not rapidly, but pretty quickly. And it's already up quite a bit from when the whole kind of crash kind of started because we hit rock bottom around last week and it's going up now. Everything's rising in price.
Mm-hmm.
So Starbucks is definitely a very good thing to buy right now.
So Starbucks, P&G.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think people should be taking some advice here because how much research have you done on a couple of these stocks?
A lot. A lot, definitely a lot. Maybe an hour or a couple hours worth.
Yeah. So you've been researching this for a couple hours just in between classes, or how does that work?
Since we have this whole online school thing, I have definitely a lot of extra time to do this kind of stuff right now because usually we only get around an hour of homework a day. It's a bit crazy.
That's not too bad. I mean, it only gets worse from here, man. No, but so you're currently, you're in your classes, you're trading during the day. What do you use to trade with? How did you go about figuring out where to find your trading platform? What do you use?
I can't even remember this one. Okay. So
is it like an app or do you go on the computer?
I have just like an E-Trade account to do it that way.
Yeah.
And that's how I,
Did you just set that all up yourself?
Yeah, I set it up. Well, I set it up with my dad a while ago, like a year or two ago, a few years ago.
And you're just getting in the game, investing already, and just ready for the top. I bought my first stock when I was 6 years old, and it was one share of Pfizer when I was 6, and then back when I was like 19, it was a couple $1,000s at that point, and I took that money, and then I also started investing pretty heavily when I was 18, 19. So you've got 5-6 years on top of that you got a lead on the market. but I was able to, and then I got a stipend because I went to West Point. So I was able to invest all of that money. So I got to be, I got to be able to make a lot of money investing by the time I was about 22 or 23. I was sitting in a really good market position, and I had done a lot of different aggressive strategies and conservative strategies. I had them kind of all tailored out, but I spent a lot of time with it. And it's certainly a thing that when you have time on your side, you can really rock. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you had, like, if you went and got a job or something in high school, or even just while you're working in college, or there's some way you could kind of have a stipend or make some money on the side, you could easily probably see yourself become a millionaire before 25 years old if you invest correctly.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Especially if you're getting a good job in tech, engineering, getting some real estate going. You should just come and work for Ventures, Ben.
That can be a possibility.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure, of course we'll double check with your mom, make sure it's all good, but when you get out of college, we might have a job offer coming your way. You'd love it. You could get on the pod, we could do some YouTube, do some real estate, talk some strategy, and try to move some assets around. I think you'd be a great addition to the team.
Yeah.
So tell me about your 3D printer that you got.
Yeah, so right now I have a Lulzbot Taz 6, which is a good printer. It's definitely a good printer. I haven't had a lot of issue with it because what I mainly do is 3D model parts that I need to build stuff, or just little trinkets and stuff just for some 3D modeling practice. But usually I make parts for things. And so how a 3D printer works, if you didn't know, is there's two types. There's resin printers, and then there's the normal mechanical ones that just extrude molten plastic, pretty much.
Sure.
You have these big, huge rolls of plastic, and it goes in, and then it extrudes, because you have this program on your computer called a slicer. And what that does is it takes a 3D model, and then you insert it into the program, and it breaks it down into what the printer needs to print in the different layers. And then you plug it into your printer, and it will make that part by using this big, like, robotic almost arm. And it extrudes plastic in these certain patterns and just keeps building up layer by layer and creates whatever part you assemble. Like I rebuilt half of a drone that I crashed with 3D printed parts.
You rebuilt it. Let me just stop you there for a second. You rebuilt half of a drone.
Yeah.
With your own 3D printed machined parts.
Yeah, pretty much. I broke the outer casings and a bit of circuitry, actually, and I had to go in with like a soldering iron and fix that. But I custom 3D modeled and printed the outer casings and actually a new propeller for the drone, like a new prop, and it worked. I 3D scanned it with a 3D scanner, and then put the broken parts into CAD. And then what I did was I took that against the dimensions of the drone, figured out what I needed to add because what was broken off, and then I printed it, my part I made, and then I used a 3D pen, which is pretty much, it's like an extruder. It's what is on the printer, but it's not controlled like by a big mechanical arm. You can just hold it in your hand. And then I used that to kind of fuse it all together, and it worked quite nicely, actually.
So you were able to repair your drone this way. Is there anything else that you've figured out or that you've invented with your 3D printer, or just in general? Like, what's the coolest invention that you've made?
Probably, I've made a lot of stuff. And probably I'm working on a project right now with something called a Wi-Fi deauthor, which um, it sends out signals to disrupt Wi-Fi signals. And I'm working on building a way to kill a connection from a controller of the drone to the drone with this device. So say it there's like a drone, it'll only work with right now with ones you have like the correct clearance to take down.
Sure.
But if there's one flying around, you should be able to, once I finish it, and the prototype I made works pretty well, just take down a drone with the click of a button, and it will.
So you're able to intercept another drone signal?
Yeah, I can intercept it, and I'm actually working on another system where you'll be able to intercept it and then control it from another controller.
So you'll be able to just hijack people's drones.
Yeah, with another drone. Pretty much, the drone would be able to hijack a drone. It sounds kind of complicated, but it would, in theory, work. And the technology that I'm using for this, I know works. You just have to mount it on a drone. So I've started prototyping that right now.
Are the results looking quite promising?
Yeah, they are. Definitely. The authoring device is pretty much finished, and it works really well. But I've had some mixed results with the drones where sometimes you de-auth them. It depends on the different type of drone. They'll just stay hovering in the air, or some will fall to the ground. It's very mixed. So I'm trying to make the other drone so I can, stop them. If I want them to fall to the ground, I can just make them fall to the ground. If I want them to stay hovering, I can make them stay hovering. But
right, fully control it.
Yeah, so I have full control, not just kind of inherent control, where I kind of have some control. I can make the camera cut out and it not be able to move, but I don't know if it's gonna go flying down and crash into something, or if it's just gonna stay hovering in the air. It makes it a bit chaotic.
Have you seen that video on the internet or on the news where the police officers in New York City, the New York City police, are actually using drones to tell people walking around through parks to make sure they're staying 6 feet apart or more? Have you seen that video?
I have not seen that. That sounds.
Doesn't it sound kind of freaky? So
yeah, it does.
So you could, in theory, you could hijack a police department's drone too, and you could start moving it around yourself.
Highly illegal, but yes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it would be totally illegal, but I mean, you work for the resistance, Ben. It's pretty obvious here.
Well, you could in theory, but I'm not trying to get arrested. So.
Yeah, that's good. You don't want to get arrested at this point in your life, especially. Well, this is great, Ben. So you're able to create a system where you can intercept drones and then eventually control those drones. That's certainly fascinating in a world where we're definitely moving towards drones. Do you think drones are going to be much more prevalent in the future for transportation, or where do you see the use of drones in the future?
Definitely, I think, especially with like Amazon, how they've already started to try and roll out that drone package delivery system. But I see it being as a very unsecure way to do it, because anyone can go up and hijack your drone and just intercept packages or intercept anything. They can intercept police drones. They can, this technology is advancing at a very fast rate, and it's almost scary, because if there's drones flying everywhere, then someone takes out one of these devices and can just knock them all out of the sky all at once, then it could cause chaos in a large city where there could be hundreds of them flying around delivering packages or doing other things at a time, and then they just all fly out of the sky and fall down.
Unless instead of controlled by radio waves, they're controlled by some other type of radar. So
Yeah,
you could have some kind of encryption to where the drone wouldn't necessarily it would be following some kind of radar path that would be guiding the, just like a missile system would work. I
yeah.
imagine you could do it that way.
But yeah, that would definitely be a alternate solution to what I've been seeing so far in what they've been rolling out and kind of testing. Because those are some are Wi-Fi controlled, some are radio controlled, but you can spoof radio or Wi-Fi with um some type with any device you can that transmits a signal. You can go on Amazon and buy a $5 little chip and plug it into a power bank, connect to it with your phone, and you buy some software and literally be able to pinpoint people's Wi-Fi and shut it down, which is also a very worrying thing because that can be used to do the same thing to a drone that runs on that signal. And I've seen similar things with radio waves before.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good concern, Ben. I think you might be onto something. I think there could be solutions out there for maybe a future systems engineer to be working on that. It'd probably be totally overkill to use radar to drive it, but I think there's a lot of other solutions out there. I think that's really cool. So I got another question for you, Ben. You listen to the show quite frequently, right?
Yeah.
What's been your favorite episode on the podcast?
My favorite episode is the first episode. First episode, it was a good episode, and it was the first episode.
Yeah. The first episode coming out with a bang. I like it. What was your favorite guest? Did you listen to any with guests?
I think
Probably going to be, your dad's episode just came out yesterday.
yeah, that I'm just gonna go ahead. Yeah, that's my probably favorite guest.
Yeah, I, for good reason.
Yeah.
Or is maybe today will be your favorite guest? You.
Yeah. This actually, yeah, I changed it. This is my favorite guest.
Yeah, this should be your favorite guest. I tried getting your mom on too, but I don't know. Maybe she's a little camera shy, little microphone shy. You have to tell her I said that.
I will.
Do you think what other guests do you think I should try to get on the show? It'll be fun to listen to. Anybody.
This one is a bit ambitious, but I think you should try and get Donald Trump, the President of the United States, on your podcast.
That's pretty ambitious.
That is pretty ambitious.
I could, if you can somehow get involved with the media pass to get to the White House, you're able to go to the White House press conferences and you can interview them then. I think it's pretty competitive though, and you have to have a lot of background.
Yeah.
I heard a story that you met Donald Trump before.
Yeah, actually I did at a bit of a lunch in Milwaukee last summer. I went and I met him. He was speaking. It was like a private event, and he was speaking there. And I met him. I listened to him speak, and I've gone to a few rallies and stuff. And yeah, it was very interesting.
What did he say anything to you when you met him, or did you just shake his hand?
I pretty much just shook his hand.
Did he say anything to you?
He said he did mention it was kind of funny. I was one of the I think I was the only kid in the crowd of people, because there's only about 50 people there, and I was the only kid. I was the only person probably under the age of 18 sitting there. So he did point at me and say that is our next generation when he was talking in his speech, which was pretty cool.
So he gave you a shout out.
Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah.
How does it feel that you influenced the president of the United States, even if it was just for a microsecond?
It feels pretty good.
Yeah. Well, cool, Ben. Well, do you have any questions for me at all about the podcast, about the show? I thought it was you did a great job. I think everybody's going to give you a lot of credit for coming on the show as a 13-year-old that's a boy genius, running the stock market right here, making huge gains for all those people out there that don't know or can't get into investing. Ben, I talk to a lot of like 30 to 35-year-old men and women that don't even know what the stock market or how to invest in the stock market. And here we got a 13-year-old that's already starting in the game, owning 1,000 stocks, placing positions on Procter and Gamble, place positions on Starbucks. And you got people out there 30, 35 years old, older than me, that don't even know the first thing about investing. What would you say to them, Ben?
I would say that they should get into it. It's a way to, make your money, save your money. You just want to if you want to keep growing it, you've got to invest.
Right.
You can invest one year, you can have $2,000, you invest it, and the next you can have 20. You don't know, but
Yeah. And is it that hard to get started?
it's a bit tricky, but it's not that hard. No, I got started like about 3 years ago trading and stuff on my own.
So you were 10 when you started.
Yeah, I was about 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So not only were you 13, you were 10 years old when you started trading the stock market. What was that, fourth or fifth grade?
Yeah, I think it was 5th grade when I started like making the decisions that happened with my stocks and controlling them on my own.
Yeah. So there's really no excuse for people that, aren't trying to invest out there.
Yeah, it's something you shouldn't put it off. It's something you should do. It's a very good thing to do.
This is how you're going to pay for your college. At least maybe pay for the fun things in college, right? Going out for a dinner, maybe buying a nice young lady something to eat. You have any ladies in your life, Ben?
I have my mom.
Good answer. Good answer. How's grandma doing?
Doing good. I talked to her earlier today, and she's doing good. Yeah.
We should get her on the show too. She'd be a good fun one to talk to. Well, Ben, do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't think so.
You've been a fantastic guest today. And folks, if you are out there listening today, remember that this is Ben Byczek. He's the son of Dave Byczek, who we had on the other day. And he's a boy genius, investor pro. Listen to his advice. He's making some trades. He's spending a lot of time. And he's got, more than enough time right now with school being online to start making some of these decisions. So, Ben, you've been a fantastic guest. Ask everybody to give us a like or help them share, the podcast. Leave a comment if you enjoyed this. Go rate it. We are still doing our drawing for the gift card, a $200 Amazon gift card that is open to anyone that leaves a review on iTunes, a 5-star rating, and leaves a nice note with some way that this podcast helped you or inspired you or taught you something you didn't know. What we're going to do is we're going to take all those, consolidate them, and we're going to run a raffle for a $200 Amazon gift card that'll go right into your email. So all you got to do is screenshot that and email it to info@aaronjarmstrong.com. First step, just go to iTunes. Second step, leave a nice review. Third step, email it to info@aaronjarmstrong.com, and it enters you into a raffle for $200 Amazon gift card, which is going to be pretty nice right now. Don't you think, Ben? Wouldn't you like a $200 Amazon gift card?
I would like a $200 Amazon gift card.
That's right. So you got to tell everybody leave a nice review on iTunes. But well, Ben, thanks so much for being on the show today. You did great, and I think that our listeners will certainly enjoy your advice and tips on trading the stock market, and also provide them no excuses to make a cool invention at any point in their life.
Yeah.
All right, Ben. Thanks a lot. Be somebody.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Hey folks, AJ here. Thanks again for listening through to the end. Once again, we are celebrating our 100th podcast episode of Winners, Wallets, and Worldviews. And to help us get some of the high quality guests that you guys love it really, really helps us if you leave a review, because that's one of the things that iTunes looks at to make your podcast more popular. And it also is what some of the PR agents look at, so they decide if they want to get some of the high quality guests on our show. They'll actually look at how many reviews you have on a podcast. So for me to get some of those guests, I am going to give away $200 to people that leave a review. So what it is if you leave a review, you go to iTunes, you go scroll all the way down, you leave a 5-star review and a comment about how this podcast helped you or helped your business or helped someone you know. That's going to enter you into a raffle where we will randomly select a winner, and they will get sent via email a $100 or $200 Amazon gift card. So once again, guys, this is one of the things that really helps us to get some of those high quality guests on the show. So it's very, very simple to enter. Once again, it's got to be done on iTunes. So it's 3 very simple steps. Step 1, go to iTunes. Step 2, leave a 5-star review and a very simple comment. Step 3, screen grab that comment and send it to info@aaronjarmstrong.com. That's how we know that you left the review, and that's what's going to enter you into the review system. So without any further ado, thank you so much for being a loyal follower and a loyal listener on this podcast. And we thank you so much for your continued support. And if you want to continue to get high quality guests on this show, please support us by just leaving a very simple review. And hopefully you could be the lucky winner of a $200 Amazon gift card. Thank you so much, everybody.